Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
To be honest, it doesn't really matter who scores. To be honest, it doesn't really matter who scores as long as somebody does, right? And we don't want to prolong the series any longer. And but I think the goal is important, yes. But I think without Stu and guys putting their body on the line and making those little plays and sacrifices, we wouldn't be here. So it was a team effort for sure.
No kidding. But what a moment! What a goal, Kasperi Kapanen. From the press box to the second line to overtime hero, series ender. Oilers are moving on to the Final Four for the third time in the last 4 seasons. A big win over the Vegas Golden Knights. They earned themselves some much-needed rest as they await their conference final opposition. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Hey, going to be a fun show. Wasn't an overly entertaining game. Right up Strud's alley. We'll get to Jason Strudwick in just a moment. Lots to break down tonight. Rob Brown's going to be joining us as well. We've got Zuby on deck, manning the controls at Growler Media World headquarters in Kelowna. And we've got you. We're live on YouTube and on X. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, the show is brought to you by Play Alberta. Why choose Play Alberta? Just ask any hockey fan who loves odds boosts, players props, and same-game parlays, or slots players who love the massive jackpots, or lottery players who can grab last-minute tickets on the go. Deposit today. Get a $50 free bet with the code GYB05 at playalberta.ca. Coming at you from our Adrenaline Diesel studio. If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. As we say, good evening to Jason Strudwick and to Zuby Chris Sabunia. Struds, I got a text partway through the game. And what did it say here? Something about like super boring low event game. Struds must be loving this. From one of our sponsors who shall remain nameless. Sent that in, Struddy. Were you just, were you loving that defensive matchup?
Well, first off, name names. Put your name on it. Come on now. Own up to it.
Let me
But
see here.
I will say this. I do love because everything becomes more important. I've said that when it's a 7-6 game, nothing matters. Saves, shots, goals, choices. This one, you could tell it was a chess match. Both teams were very cautious, especially early. It loosened up as they went on. But I love this type of game. This is what playoffs are supposed to be. You're on the edge of your seat. You can't take a break to go make some popcorn.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something. I guess the decision, listen, before he gets on the show here, we need to have a little group chat, just the three of us and the 500 people on YouTube and the 3 on Twitch and whoever's on X. How hard are we going to be on Brownie tonight? Like, how hard should we go at him, guys? He wanted to tear Kapanen from the lineup, tear Kapanen from that line, rip him to shreds, put him on a different line. I don't know. Like, are we going to let him off the hook, Struds, or are we going to go right for the jugular when he jumps into the show? Which way do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, we can just say, let's talk about Kapanen. As soon as he steps in, is he, and listen, it's an amazing story. As soon as he scored, I thought to myself, that's 13 forwards that have scored, 13 forwards. and they've all, not every goal, but a lot of those goals have been really important that these guys have scored, which blows me away. Like, it's just, no one thought Kapanen was going to score the all-time winner. I sure didn't. I mean, he can skate and shoot, and the way he did, he was at the net, fighting for position, knocking that puck in. Like, you got to love it. You got to love this story for the Oilers. They're writing an interesting story.
Zuby, what do all your goaltender-only chats, what are they saying tonight about Stu Skinner, buddy? Like, the goaltending world must be just flipped on its head after these last 2 performances, considering the narratives. And by the way, Connor McDavid with some strong words
for those Skinner doubters out there.
I wish I had those chats. That would be me and Gordy Parchewski and Brad Shardlow, my buddy out here, all the St. Albert House League goalies of yesteryear. It was excellent. Amazing, but so similar, his game anyway, to game 4, and they made it the same game for him to play. And he was great and had the glove going a little bit early, but he had he had 2 or 3 big blocker saves that he wasn't even sure where they were, but he threw that blocker up. He was great. An incredible turnaround, but the team played so well in front of him too, really.
Yep. Okay, we got lots to get to. Brownie will be joining us in our next segment, by the way, so we'll give him the friendly gears then. But for now, let's get to our breakdown, brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. Ram trucks continuing to deliver with power, style, and innovation. 2025 Ram 1500 featuring a bold new powertrain, redesigned exterior, and state-of-the-art technology. Check out the most awarded light-duty truck ever. Go see your local Ram dealer today. Okay, Struds, I was thinking to myself when it started the way it started and held that way for much of the first, most of the second, it really didn't start to nudge loose until kind of late second, third period. Did you have the same feeling I did that this is just fine? And this actually benefits the Oilers a tremendous amount that the game is going this way. That's how I felt. You?
Yes. As I was watching it starting out, it was obvious both teams are waiting for the other to make a mistake. They're like, we're just going to counterpunch. We're going to counterpunch. So that means that, if someone has a bad turnover, a bad pass, boom, now we strike the other and we score. It was clear no one wanted to make the mistake. It almost felt like a game 7 in that way. But the Oilers they have grown to be ultra comfortable in these types of games. Ultra comfortable. They know how to manage the puck. They understand the reloading, stopping on pucks for the most part. And I think for Skinner, you kind of alluded to it. I think he's comfortable in these types of games because the shots are more predictable. He understands where they're coming from and what's going to happen. So, yeah, like this was one of them. Like, yeah, they're going to feel fine in this game. They look fine. They've played in these games. Not that the Vegas hasn't, but these guys have, and they're built for these types of moments to withstand these types of counterpunch games.
So Chris Knobloch made a pile of changes before the last game. All 4 lines of D pairings, and he held firm with all of those changes. Last change be damned. Didn't matter to him whether he was going to get the Draisaitl-Eichel matchup or not. Should be mentioned, without Mark Stone tonight, that is a big swing in the Oilers direction. That's a good player, a savvy veteran, an important player for them. So that was definitely, they were behind it right from the get-go. But Strudsy stuck with it. He resisted the temptation to go nuclear too often. He did it a couple of times here and there, but really, and even when the power play's sputtering, and even when there's not a lot of great scoring chances happening, he stayed patient and he continued, for the most part, to trust everybody throughout that entire game, Struds. And by the time they got to overtime, they had highly usable players throughout the lineup still.
Well, just to your final note, almost everyone played over 10 minutes. I know there was some overtime, but still almost everyone was at over 10 minutes. And I think the high end was 25. And that was the D-man. I think it was Bouchard. But the lowest guy was Trent Frederick, just under 10 minutes. So they get this game going. They're feeling comfortable. Everyone's playing. And I think by not changing up the lines too much, just like you said, the odd one where they put one Supernova, they're like, guys, I believe in everyone here. It's going to take everybody. And they just rolled them out. It's just shift after shift after shift. We're going to figure this out. Just keep doing what you're doing. Even the D. I mean, Stetcher was over, I think he was 16 minutes as a 6 D-man in a clinching game on the road. So there was a lot of positive in that. The Oilers are at their best when they're rolling that kind of depth out shift after shift.
Yeah, and it was tight, man. It was tight checking. There weren't a lot of chances. Everybody waiting for someone else to make a mistake. It was all about just attention to detail. It was like every rush up ice was a slog, Struds. Every dump in and chase and battle. It was just like nobody was able to make that little play to tap it by a guy and spring something loose in an odd man rush. Like man, that was so incredibly tight, which is funny because, I mean, these teams scored some goals earlier in this series. It's not that they can't, but when it tightens up like that, Struds, like the pressure is on everybody not to be the one that breaks.
I would call every play contested, right? So you're trying to get out of your zone, it's contested. Sticks in the lane, contested. Trying to get a deep, contested. Back checking, we can highlight, obviously one of the best back checks I think I've seen a number of games here where Connor just passed so many people to get back and lifts the guy's stick and tumbles into the boards. Like that's back checking. So contested is how I define it. Off of face-offs, zone entries, power plays, penalty kill, like everything was just hard and there was layers, shots from the point. How many times do you see a D-man get the shot blocked and or have to change his mind and shoot it wide or not shoot it at all? So it was just really, really tough. And those are tough games to play in because you're right. You not only are you trying to contest the other team, you also have to face that. So you have to play faster and kind of know what you're going to do and make the plays quicker. So both teams managed it well, but these are two teams that are battle tested, right? This isn't a team like a Montreal Canadiens of just welcome to the party, buddy. These guys understand those types of games, and they've played them many, many times over the last number of years as playoff warriors.
Oilers have won 8 out of their last 9 games, Struddy. Like, they are absolutely rolling right now. And they're doing it in different ways, and they're finding different ways. But this reminds me a little bit of the LA Kings, a number of years ago when they just went on a romp, and I covered them in a number of those series. Saw some pundits pointing them out as the juggernauts to be messed with in the playoffs right now earlier on today. So they're absolutely rolling. They're just dynamite in closeout games. In the McDavid era, they've been fantastic, and they're rolling right along here. Take me through the overtime winner, Struds.
It was ugly. And was there going to be any other way? Was there going to be another way? Think about, with what was it, a minute left, Connor gets a 2-on-1 with Hyman, and not a great, it was a good chance. I wouldn't say it was a great scoring chance, right? Like I think that it wasn't much out of it, but that multiple people crashing the net, getting to that and just fighting for it. And Hill kind of gets off balance, falls over, teeters over, and we'd seen him be a little bit uncomfortable this series. And Kapanen's there just banging away till he gets it in. And, was it going to be any other way? I think it had to be ugly, Shaka. I don't know how else it could have played out.
Yeah. No, for sure. The way that game went wasn't going to be an end-to-ender, wasn't going to be it just wouldn't have done that game justice. It's mucky, it's ugly, and it's a fifth-line player that finds a way to get it done and put it in, man. Kasperi Kapanen. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson Soundbox. Weiss Johnson's proud to host their annual golf tournament, support the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society, June 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. They'd love to see you there. All proceeds directly support the Society's efforts to meet the evolving needs of the Down syndrome community. To purchase your tickets, email info@weiss-johnson.com. That's info@weiss-johnson.com. Been to the tournament. Dennis and company always put on a great event. Not sure if we'll be able to be there or not. Might be working. We'll see. We'll see if I'm on the road out on the trail again with this team. But a great event in support of a great cause. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local.
Kasperi Kapanen on the game-winning goal. Actually, Kasperi Kapanen, I already played that clip. Kasperi Kapanen on the trust that he'd been shown to be brought back into the lineup after being a healthy scratch. You're letting it roll, Zuby. I love that. Just letting it roll.
There's so many good players on this team that I understood when Norbert told me that I wasn't going to start playing against LA, and then that was fine. And the team was playing really well, so we weren't changing anything with our lineup, which was understandable. And that's the main goal. That's the most important thing is the team winning and us advancing. And I knew eventually I'd probably get a chance, and just being patient and being ready. And I think last game it was pretty obvious how much I had a lot of energy there, and just trying to make an impact that way and just keeping it simple. And today, just kind of getting lucky, being in the right space, the right spot at the right time. And
the lone goal, 4 shots on net, 3 hits. Kapanen with a monster performance. What else do we have, Zuby, sound-wise? Should we roll in some Stu Skinner here? Stu Skinner, back-to-back shutouts. What was he, 24 and 23? Is it 47 saves over the last couple of games? Just phenomenal that he's been able to come in and accomplish this over the last couple of games. Let's hear from him, Zuby.
I don't think I want to do it like this too often. But I mean, it happens. It's the nature of the game. It's the nature of the position that I'm in. But yeah, being able to come back in, no matter what the scenario is, and being able to have that resiliency in me is something that I can be proud of. And yeah, I mean, again, it's so much has to do with how the guys are playing in front of me. I mean, the way that they've played ever since I've come back in is again impressive.
Yeah, they've given him some pretty high quality play in front of him as well. But Stu Skinner, Struds, answering a tremendous number of critics. We're going to play a clip from Connor McDavid here when he was asked what back-to-back shutouts mean. And, I mean, they say they don't listen to the noise in that locker room, Struds, but it's clear with McDavid's answer that they're aware of the narratives because McDavid coming strongly to the defense of their starting netminder.
This is the one he was frustrated on, Shogger? We have him talking on Stu more than once.
Oh, well, it's the one where he said, shut up.
Yeah, okay. And then it actually continues on, just so you have the heads up that it asks the question about. Yeah, here we go.
I mean, how many times are we going to answer this question, really? Like,
just hang on, Zuby. Just pause that one. Do you have the one where he says, hopefully people shut up?
Oh, yes. Him? Yep. Sorry, my bad. Yep. Here it is.
Okay, roll it.
Well, hopefully it shuts a lot of people up that we're talking about him, first and foremost. But, we've always had belief in him, comes in and pitches 2 shutouts. Can't say enough good things.
Yeah, Struds. And McDavid doesn't talk like that a lot. Those guys know in there. They know.
You're protective of your teammates, especially if you do believe in them. And, Pickard was a great story, and what he did helped the team a lot. But this guy, Skinner, has the higher ceiling. I truly feel that. I've been saying that. But you have to come out and you got to do it, right? You got to do it consistently. They need him right now to be, like this consistently night in, night out for the rest of their run, whatever that looks like, 2 more rounds. If they can do that, I think that calms the water around him. Just being consistently deliver what everyone knows he's capable of, because he's showing great moments like this. 2 shutouts. It's pretty impressive against this team.
Yeah. Hey. There you go. Joe actually just chimed in on the stream and said, I'm staying for the 1000 sound. Need to experience it. Joe, you've experienced it. What do you think? Joe just gave us a hell yeah. People are loving it. 1K, 18 minutes in, no surprise tonight. Yeah, no kidding. Lots to talk about tonight, and we got a lively audience. Remember, ask us anything. Fire your questions into the stream. Although I'm noticing there's already some ask us anything questions coming in, Struds, talking about the Oilers' strategy against the Dallas Stars. I would say we're probably not going to go there just yet, folks. There will be a time and a place to discuss, but how they match up against Dallas. Yeah. Let's give the Winnipeg Jets just a little bit more credit than that, and not quite go there just yet. Brownie's going to be ready soon, so let's wrap up the segment here with our Relentless Player of the Night. Brought to you by UCAN Youth Services at Edmonton Charity. Relentless in helping youth aged 16 to 24 get out of harm's way and find employment. Visit ucan.ca to see how your donation can change lives right here in our community. Struddy?
Yeah, Stu Skinner. Listen, you get back-to-back shutouts when, it feels like his game hasn't been where he'd want it. That's huge. And to do that, what is it, 120 minutes or something without a goal against? So give the man his due. Relentless. Stu Skinner gets it tonight.
Well, nobody shot a puck past him in over 7 periods because the Draisaitl knocked that one in the third period of game 3.
Fair point. Yeah.
He hadn't been scored on since the second period of game 3. You know, like somebody actually beating him with a shot. So, I mean, just fantastic performance from Stu Skinner. Very deserving of the UCAN Youth Services Relentless Player of the Night. Along the lines of Stu Skinner, Zuby, let's get to our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. Golf season's here, so go get what you need. They've got everything. 53rd Avenue, 99th Street at DeBoersGolf.com online, looking to help you play better golf. I went down there today, Struddy, and boy, oh boy, went on a little bit of a golfing shopping spree today, and they've got so much quality stuff, like so many shirts, shorts, pants, like clubs, shoes, everything to choose from. I was like a kid in a candy store today, and they were amazing help as always. So go see Scotty, Al, TJ, and the great crew down at DeBoer. Zuby, what do we got, bud?
Okay, a little bit of fun tonight, but with an eye on what's happened here in the last few weeks. The question tonight is, for everything, this is geared, of course, at our chat, at the fans here, the Oil fans and the Got Your Back fans. For everything you may have said in this chat and in private, to whom do you most owe an apology to tonight, right now? The choices are Evan Bouchard, Chris Knobloch, Stu Skinner, or Evander Kane. Who do you think the most apologies? I mean, maybe that's obvious, but
that's going to be a runaway.
There's some.
I mean, they're all good choices, but given what's happened here and how far he's come, hey, Struddy, there'll be some Stu Skinner love tonight.
Yeah, and well deserved. You know, listen, his season was inconsistent. The team was inconsistent. There was injuries. There was all kind of stuff going on. But when they needed him the most, he came through. And I think that speaks volumes about a guy's character and his ability to just get dialed in the moment and get the job done.
MTJ Disorder says, never turn my back on Stu. It's amazing what a goalie can do when his team aren't giving up 30 odd man rushes a game. Well said. I voted Bouchard, says the Blomskinator. I rag on both of them, but only Bouchard lives rent-free in my head with his not shooting and boneheaded plays sometimes. Great subtle defense in these playoffs, though. So proud of the boys. Really mature games over the past 2. Hanko 809. I owe an apology to my liver. Been drinking a lot watching this team. Yes. And DJ Regear says, I'm eating a big Stu shitburger right now. Yes, lots of people are eating Stu Crow right now. And good for Stu Skinner. Okay. Is Brownie close to being ready, Zuby?
Yeah, he's here.
Should we grab a break?
Yeah, let's do the break, and we'll get him in here. He'll be here for the beginning of the next segment.
Okay, sounds good. Rob Brown coming up here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. We'll be right back.
Dental coverage can feel overwhelming, but Alberta Blue Cross is here to make it simple. Their user-friendly website features a free quote tool to guide you through choosing your plan, or you can chat directly with one of their specialists for personalized help. Every plan includes access to personal, nutritional, and financial counseling at no extra cost. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/personal to learn more.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit BelvedereGCC.com today.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at sequelandentistry.com.
Time now for takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Struddy, it was Chris Parson from Martin Motorsports. Chris Parsons who had the text. I'm throwing him under the bus. It was him.
I believe
Little
it.
going on in this game. Struddy must be loving it. Was the text message. The countdown to summer is on. Make it a Sea-Doo summer and hit the water in full throttle with a new Sea-Doo Spark from Martin Motorsports. Every ride will be unforgettable. Dive into their inventory online at martinmotorsports.ca or visit them at their 2 Edmonton locations on the south or west side. Actually had our boat service there over the last week or so. They took great care of us. Just super friendly service staff. And helped me make sure the boat was all blocked properly so it didn't roll away through the parking lot. Quick and efficient. It was a great experience. All right, Rob Brown joins us. Brownie, the first question. What the hell was a fifth-line player doing on the ice in overtime?
Mistake made by the coach. He was trying to call out McDavid and said Kapanen by mistake. I'm pretty sure I heard that in the press conference afterwards.
He did.
Sometimes mistakes work out. Good on Kapanen. Seriously, good on Kapanen. That was tenacity at its best. There's some guys will fly by. He did not fly by. He was, that puck was going in the net, whether it was going in the net with his stick on the back of Hill, whether he's going to have to push it in with his hands. It goes back to what we talked about with guys coming out of the press box. You don't want to sit in the press box. You do not want to watch this team play. Whether they're winning every game or not, you don't want to watch. You want to be part of it. When you get your chance, you do whatever it takes. In game one playing, he hit everything that moved. And I know Kapanen can be physical, but he played beyond physical in game one. He was setting the tone. And then I thought he had another good game today. This was a game where there was zero space on the ice, and there was a desperation and an urgency, and he, along with all of his teammates, were good tonight. So good on him. What he's earned is a spot in the lineup against either Dallas or Winnipeg, and that's all you're trying to do. If you're one of those guys, third, fourth, fifth line guys, you're trying to earn one more game, and he certainly earned that.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. He probably starts with the same lines. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but this guy Knobloch seems to understand what's needed and the tweaks that are required. And I think just being honest with players, you hear Kapanen talk about. He told me the situation, and you don't have to like it, but at least we are going to use you. We need you. We're going to need you. So stay ready. And I like that rather than just darkness and then, hey, we need you and get out here. So I got to give a little bit of Knobloch some love as well.
Well, and Brownie, we know, he put that line together last game and let them go ahead to get a head-to-head against Eichel. You go into Vegas and you don't have last change, so you can't necessarily find that matchup. And one of your concerns was, you're using Leon Draisaitl on a line where there's not a lot of offense. Well, through 98% of that game, there was not a lot of offense. So it was one of those things where, how did you feel when it was as tight checking as it was? I was impressed that he didn't make changes and go nuclear and kind of get frustrated and overhandle it. He stuck with those lines, but it kind of came to fruition what you talked about. There weren't a lot of great scoring chances, and it was a low scoring affair, and the Oilers got a pretty high octane scorer in a guy like Draisaitl.
Well, you've got a guy that, had Leon not got hurt down the stretch, there's a good chance he wins the scoring title. And he won the Rocket Richard. And you're not getting a whole lot of offense out of his line. He's played 2 games. They got 1 point in 2 games. So it's not like this line is going out there and dominating. So that was my point is tonight, if one of those shots, one of those Eichel plays that he made gets past Skinner, we don't get to see the overtime game-winning goal because there was really no offense from that line the rest of the night. So to me, I know it turned out well and Kapanen scored and good on him, but there was a play earlier in the game where Podkolzin had the puck and he would have fired the puck on net if he was on any other line. And he turned and passed the puck 5 feet backwards to Leon because you have to play different when you're playing with Leon. And it plays away from Podkolzin's strength. Now, Chris Knobloch is a better coach than me. Chris Knobloch knows more about his team than we can ever imagine. And Chris Knobloch has found something, as he has, as Struddy just said, everything he touches come this time of year turns to gold. There was a number of questionable things that we all questioned last year in the playoffs. And then, okay, well, that worked out well for him too. So I would never have Leon as a line mate with Kapanen and Podkolzin. Knobloch would, and they got the game-winning goal in overtime. So 1-0 Knobloch.
Struds, can I ask you very specifically about the changes on the blue line? He changed all 3 D pairings before last game, and they haven't allowed a goal since. Now, Skinner's had something to say about that, but how significant do you think the change was? And really, fundamentally, it was getting away from 25 and 2 together.
Yeah, and I think, there is something to be said for continuity and playing with the same guy shift after shift after shift. And I know power play and penalty kill may be different, but just 5-on-5, it's just nice when you get into a rhythm, because I know I'm going out with player X. I'm going out with him every time. And I think it does make sense. Stetcher, Brownie and I were texting. Stetcher is quicker than Emberson, right? He gets back to puck quicker and he makes plays quicker than Emberson. So I think that was a true goal of what they were going for, because you could tell that when Vegas couldn't get or wasn't forechecking hard, you get that puck out and you're gone, and then they can't get their forecheck going. When they had their forecheck going is when, maybe there was a stumble or the play wasn't made quick enough, or they're able just to hit the D in the corner, and then they start their cycles. So playing them more often together, and the touch of adding Stetcher, adding his quickness, both strokes of genius by Coffey and Knobloch.
Well, and to add on to that point, Struds, everybody plays situations different. You can have your set plans on how you play a defensive system, but everyone does it a little bit different. The way they turn into the corner, the way they pass the puck, how they pass the puck off the boards, their decision making. And if you're going out with a different partner, and let's face it, Emberson barely played. So the Oilers were rolling 5 defensemen. So every shift you could have a different D partner. When Vegas gets their forecheck going, if there's that slight hesitation, because now you got to think, okay, I'm with Bouchard. Okay. Well, sometimes it's a different handed guy. So now when I bounce past it has to be bounced a different way. This case, Stetcher always goes back first to get the puck. But when I'm playing with Wallman, that's where I go back first. So all of those things, if you're playing with the same guy shift after shift, you don't have to think. It just becomes second nature to you. And I think when you're getting forechecks hard by big, strong, fast, physical wingers, the less time you think, the better. And I think they're more instinctive when you play with the same guy shift after shift. I think we noticed that in these 2 games. I mean, Nurse looked much calmer out there in these 2 games. And he's playing with Troy Stetcher, a journeyman defenseman that is, a 6-7 on any team in the National Hockey League.
When Stu Skinner snapped up that first shot with his glove, barely moved, just flashed the leather, boom. Did you get the same feeling, Brownie? We were kind of like, okay, good start. It feels like he's on it. Like he was an economy of movement in there, kind of that classic Stu Skinner performance when he's at his best.
Well, I'm a Skinner fan. I've been on the bandwagon, and I've argued all season long with fans calling the show. I believe the Oilers can win the Stanley Cup with Stu Skinner. And I know that because I saw what he did last year and all the way to Game 7. When Stu Skinner, as you said, there's not a lot of movement, no flailing. And then after he makes the saves, there's just the stare. It's like, all right, I am completely focused. Nothing's going to affect me. I feel much more confident. There was the series against LA where I think you guys were talking about it, where he's singing along to the music and he's going like this. And to me, the focus wasn't as dialed in. Tonight, he wasn't bobbing his head to music. It was every time they put the camera on him, staring straight ahead. There was just, this is my game. I am so into this game. And he was excellent. And it was one of those games where I think halfway through the second period, you're thinking, next goal wins. That's how good both teams were. That's how good both goaltenders were. That's a lot of pressure on a goalie because now you can't make a mistake. You have to be. And I thought Stuart Skinner was excellent in this game, as was Aiden Hill. I thought both goaltenders were fantastic in this hockey game. And Stuart Skinner was just one save better. And that's huge. I mean, just look who he's knocked off in the last 5 playoff series that Skinner's played. Look at the goaltenders that he's knocked out. And Ottinger, who's Team USA, a Hill, Team Canada, Kemper, Vezina Trophy candidate. Like, he's not going head to head against, some third stringer from the San Jose Sharks. He's going against some of the best goalies in the league, and he keeps finding a way to come out on top.
Do we have more Skinner? Struds, you got something there? Go ahead.
Just a quick, I thought the Oilers did a great job off the rush, not giving any chances off the rush. I can't remember one rush chance against. And most of them were walking out of the corner, Brownie, or high plays. And I think that's when Stu's at his best.
Yep.
Just taking a look right now at the Sport Logic stats. Where is it? You know what? I'll find it in a minute. Do we have any more Stu Skinner sound there, Zuby?
No, just all the only other thing I have is that one for McDavid.
Okay. Yeah, let's shift our focus and talk a little bit about Connor McDavid here, gentlemen. I noticed the last couple of media interviews he did, holy smokes, just laser focused. I mean, he walks up and he's just all business. It didn't matter the situation. There was no joking. He was just straight to it, all business. He's focused, right? And in a lot of ways, that's the way he operates. Well, tonight post game, if there was ever a time to kind of relax a little bit, but McDavid was absolutely laser focused in his post game again tonight. So Zuby, let's run these two clips. I know we've heard one of them already. Let's run these back to back, and keep in mind the Oilers just punched their ticket to the conference final. The first question is about Stu Skinner. The second question was about the Oilers learning to play better defensive hockey, and the suggestion was that there's been an evolution of that. And man, well, here you go. Here's Connor McDavid back to back.
Well, hopefully it shuts a lot of people up that we're talking about him, first and foremost. But, we've always had belief in him, comes in and pitches 2 shutouts. Can't say enough good things. I mean, how many times are we going to answer this question, really? Like, honestly, that's frustrating that we keep talking about this. We can defend. We can. We've showed that time and time again. Come into a tough building and win a 1-0 game when it matters most. We can play that way. We can score goals. We can, whatever it takes, we can win games. Yeah.
Do you, I know it's a different year and different players and stuff. Does this team look different than last year's team, and perhaps maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit deeper? What do you think at this stage?
Tough to compare. I know we got a good team. Obviously we keep showing it. We've beaten 2 really, really good teams. LA, Vegas, obviously. And we've done it largely kind of grinding through special teams, PK's been battling the power play, struggled all series long, and that's a new story for you guys to write too. 5-on-5, we've been really, really good. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Struds, what do you think, bud?
I like it. He's fired up. He's motivated, and he's always motivated. But I like his intensity. I'm sure the message was, boys, good, nice work, but we're going to rest and just recharge and get ready for the next series, because Dallas is going to be tough, and I'll call it. It's going to be Dallas in that next series, Brownie.
Well, if it's not Dallas, then it's a very, very confident, good Winnipeg team, because they're going to have to win 3 straight to do it.
Right.
Both Dallas and Winnipeg are good. I mean, Winnipeg will be a much more physical team. The games that I've seen, Dallas is just deep, and they play very similar to Vegas. The difference between Vegas and Dallas is Dallas has got another fantastic goaltender who, of the games I've watched, Ottinger's been outstanding in. He has played fantastic. That series is a lot tighter than I think the 3-1 score is, and they've got a superstar. This is the difference between Dallas this year and Dallas last year. Dallas last year didn't have a Rantanen. As for McDavid, he's just built different than the rest of us. You look at some of the superstars around there. I mean, there's one time they showed Patrick Kane in the back of a limo with no shirt, and he's partying. That's not where you're going to see Connor McDavid. You'll see him in a gym tomorrow working out or out working on his shot. that's who he is as a hockey player and who he is as a person. And frankly, all hockey players at times get sick of the media, so they're just tired of talking to them. So they're just like, you know what, I'm done. I mean, just good. All right, I have to say this. Okay, now let me go. I'm gonna go hang out with my buddies now. Now, I was never like that, Shogger. If you would have asked me a question, I would have sat with you forever. But I'm talking about other people.
Other people. I interviewed Struds a number of times, and always cordial, always happy to talk to us. Yeah, McDavid's all business. I mean, he's answering those questions with an eye on what's to come. He knows they're only halfway there. There is an intensity level with McDavid, and I don't know if he's like that behind the scenes or with the rest of the guys, or I'm sure he relaxes and has a good time. But in terms of what he pushes, what he faces forward with, what he shows the world, I mean, that guy is uber dialed in. And interesting. I mean, he had one goal in this series. Leon Draisaitl didn't have a goal in the last 3 games of this series. There's room for those guys to get back to the production level that they're more accustomed to as well, Brownie. And that'll always weigh on McDavid's mind too, wanting to make sure that he's performing the way that he wants to. And bottom line, if they're going to get through this next series, probably going to need more production.
Well, and he actually touched on it. The one big thing that wasn't good for the Oilers in this series was their power play. Now, I give credit to the Vegas Golden Knights. They did a fantastic job killing. Fantastic job. And that'll be something that I imagine if it's Dallas, they will study every single power play the Oilers had against Vegas to see how effective Vegas was and what they did, because there were not a lot of good looks for the Oilers. It's not as though that Aiden Hill was making the saves. They simply weren't getting looks. And that's good on Vegas, and that's something the Oilers are going to have to adjust to. So I'm sure that as much as you're happy about the victory and winning the series, McDavid's a perfectionist. So, yeah, we won the series, but I need to be better. And our power play has to be better. And I know in the next series, we're not beating Dallas if I'm not better and our power play is not better and Leon's not scoring. All these other things are great. How can we improve on it? Where me and Struddy, we'd be having a beer right now in the dressing room, high-fiving. Hey, look, we won a series. Woohoo! Probably going to play next game. But these other guys that are a little higher up the food chain than us are trying to figure out how they can beat the next team.
All right. Okay, let's get to Brownie Points and Struddy's World coming up out of this next break. That was Takeaways brought to you by Martin Motor Sports. Still lots ahead on the show. Ask Us Anything is coming up as well. So send your thoughts in to Zuby. He'll collect the best of them, and we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. Still plenty ahead here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
All right, time now for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky, the ultimate jerky haul. Hamel's has you covered. 4 pounds of their mouth-watering jerky for $139, plus 5 free jerky-flavored pepperoni sticks with your order as well. Free shipping Alberta-wide. That's a whole lot of premium protein-packed goodness. Perfect for road trips, the job site, or just being the snack hero at home. Visit albertajerky.com to order. Brownie, have you ever taken points away from yourself before in this segment, Brownie?
No, I've never deserved it. So I probably never
Check
going
it.
to happen. So I
All right,
don't know where
bad
you're going
suggestion.
with that. But
No, I'm not going anywhere.
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
And
It's all
starting
you.
with
Go ahead.
minus 20 brownie points for Ryan Rishuag for that stupid suggestion. All right, here we go. I got 51 brownie points to the Troy Stetcher coming out of the press box, being thrown into a series against a big, fast, strong forechecking team. Stetcher plays over 16 minutes in game 4, has another strong game tonight, plays over 16 minutes again tonight. Unlike Emberson, Stetcher has the trust of the coaching staff and played in the last 5 minutes of this hockey game and again played in overtime. It was huge. He could roll 6 defensemen. The Oilers weren't able to do that with Emberson in there. I got two brownie points to Oilers' Kasperi Kapanen, who sat and watched the Oilers play their first 9 playoff games this season. Finally gets his chance. He brought physicality in game 1 for him and then scores the second biggest overtime goal of his career to send the Oilers to the next round. Credit to Captain, who I heard him talking after the game tonight. Just stayed focused. Talked about Chris Knobloch, telling me we will need you at some point, and good on him not getting down. And he comes in and he was a difference maker in both hockey games. I don't know if you guys talked about it. This was his second biggest overtime goal. He scored the game-winning goal in overtime in the 2016 World Junior Championships against Russia. So that was probably, because someone asked him tonight, if this was your biggest goal you ever scored, he goes, it's up there. Well, the overtime World Junior game-winning one was probably bigger. I got 456 brownie points to Oilers coach Chris Knobloch, whose adjustments later in playoff series always seem to have a golden touch. The Oilers get better as every series moves on, and a lot of that is on the back of the coaching staff, as Knobloch and his staff make a bunch of moves that sometimes don't make sense to us watching, but they certainly make sense when the game starts. So Knobloch gets 456 brownie points. I got 100 to tonight's hockey game. That was playoff hockey at its best. Desperation, urgency, shot blocks, hits. Every pass, shot were contested. Every check was finished. Both teams playing through exhaustion. Star players, both McDavid and Peter Angelo, flying into the boards and into the nets while selling out on back checks. Both goaltenders were fantastic. To me, it was a low-event hockey game at times, but it was playoff hockey at its best. And the final one, 47 brownie points to the Edmonton Oilers' Stu Skinner. There was a collective groan when Calvin Pickard went down with an injury and Skinner was back in the crease. No player has taken a beating as badly on social media as Stu Skinner. He has now stopped 47 shots in a row and has back-to-back shutouts. He won 1-0 and knocked out the Team Canada goaltender in the other end tonight. So Stu Skinner, you get a huge 47 brownie points. And those are the brownie points tonight.
All right. I mean, I was just kidding, Brownie. Can I have my brownie points back? Like, you take them away?
No.
I was just kidding.
You are like negative 100 trillion right now.
Yeah, and you keep asking for them back. That's pathetic.
I mean, it is pathetic. I'm embarrassed for him.
Okay, I'll bare my soul a little here, guys. I kind of thought maybe I would get maybe a couple brownie points tonight. I just thought maybe I'd get a few, just a couple.
I'm not sure what you're begging for right now. Do you want to pat yourself on the back? Would you like the floor right now? Struddy, can we hold Struddy's World for 2 minutes so Shagar can tell us why he deserves something?
I hope maybe you guys would pat me on the back a little bit, but
we can't. We can't get a chance. You can't get an arm in there. You're so busy doing it to yourself.
Well said, Struds. Okay, that was brownie points. We're brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. What's a guy got to do to get some brownie points around here? Roll the cartoon, Zuby. Let's get to Struddy's World.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Noah Rinsky says he gave them to Richard.
Brownie and his brownie points. Emma Terry says Shogger is so needy. Jay Fipfoil says Settlers of Catan watch party. Don't know what that meant. Struddy no sympathy, says Chief Andy. Rishuag is doing a victory lap because he was right for the first time this series. All right, thanks, Lauren. The Alchemist. Rye Guy says, I'm starting to feel bad for Shogger. He's never going to have points at this rate. Yeah, kind of thought Shogger had more integrity than this, says Peter Bauer. Peter, any one of us would sell our souls for the chance at some brownie points. Let's get to Struddy's World, though, and that is brought to you by... Who's it brought to us by? DLR Vinyl Products. Alberta's #1 vinyl product supplier, DLR, offers top quality materials to build a fence or deck that will not rot, fade, or fall apart. If you need a skilled contractor to take care of the job or prefer the do-it-yourself approach, they've got everything you need to get you all set up. Canadian owned and operated, locations in Calgary and Edmonton. Visit them online at dlrvinylproducts.ca.
I love that Brownie brought up the power play, because as I was watching the power play of the Oilers today, I was thinking how it would be to kill it, to try to kill it on the other side. And what I felt as I was watching is that it would be, tonight it was fairly simple. Now, Vegas did a good job, but the reason they did a good job is that they had sticks in the lanes and just all those little cliches you do. But when the Oilers would get the puck, they would dust it off a few times and not really move. So as a defender, you're standing there thinking, okay, I guess I'm in the right place. He's not moving. I don't have to move. The Oilers are most effective when they're moving the puck quickly. So what comes first? Is it moving the puck quickly to get the guys going, or do you get the guys going by moving your feet, then move the puck quickly? So it's kind of it's tough, but you at some point you have to start by skating, some movement, some exchange of positions. You even call them scissoring, jump in, jump out, those types of things, but get the puck moving with some movement. And that's how you open them up. They kept looking to go backdoor to Leon or trying to shoot from the point. We know that's what you're trying to do, but try to make at least disguise it a bit and make me move. Because honestly, guys, I felt that watching, they weren't moving too much, and the D and the forwards on Vegas didn't have to move really as much as what we know when they're rolling compared to what they're doing then.
Yeah, I mean, good point, Struds. And watching the power play today and watching when the Oilers are effective, the Oilers' power play is best. And I know that they've talked about it in the past, not as much this year, but in the past, where they say they're really good at road hockey. When all of a sudden there's chaos, that's where the Oilers are the best, because they're skilled and there's chaos, and they're going to make the opposition look silly because now they're moving around fast. It usually comes off a missed shot and they get possession. And here's where the Oilers, when you miss a shot, as you know, as a defender, Struds, if Bouchard takes a shot and there's a save and the puck is loose somewhere, you as the defender are trying to get to it. But if you lose the race and the Oilers get it, now you guys are scrambling. The defenders are scrambling. And to me, what we've seen here in this playoffs run for the Oilers is the Oilers will win the race, they'll get it to the side, and then they'll stop. And then they'll get into their setup again. And what that does, that allows you, Jason, and your line and your teammates to get back into your positioning. And then they'll go around the outside. To me, as soon as you get possession, you attack. Because now you're out of position and someone's going to try to slide over and cover for you, then he's out of position. And I think that's what we've seen in the past with the Oilers, is when there is a missed opportunity and you win that race to the puck, the Oilers attack quickly and it catches the defenders. And to me, they haven't done that. They've won the races to get the puck, and they'll have the puck in the offensive zone for a minute 30, minute 40. But every time they get the puck, the second, the third, the fourth time, they get it back out to the flanks to Connor or Leon, and then they'll slow it down again, looking for the perfect 100%. Play. And they lose the advantage that they have. And to me, they just really didn't get any looks. Vegas just took away all the chances, or all of the passing lanes, and the Oilers just stayed on the outside.
Is it just me, or did Vegas do as good a job as, honestly, I'm trying to think back through some of the different playoff series, but how many looks did Leon Draisaitl have in his magic spot over there where he actually had a really good look and was open and it was feathered across there right into his wheelhouse? Like, one. I can think of a couple. Yeah. Was there maybe one? He hit the side of the net?
Yeah, that's the only one I can remember.
So I wonder how much that becomes a template for whoever is next, Struds, because, I mean, their power play, that's one of the setups that is so deadly. How much that becomes a template for whoever's next.
whatever Vegas did so well to take that away.
But usually it works well, as Brownie just said. You kind of get it going. Now there's a lot of movement, and all of a sudden, boom, Connor gets it and zings it back to him. Or Connor walks around the net and throws it back to Leon. Well, we saw Connor, especially early in the series, walk around the net, and there's nothing. There were sticks in those lanes. He couldn't pass it back. So what's option 2? What's option? Maybe it's a shot from Connor. Maybe it's pop it a one-timer to the other side, or throw it up to Bush and he drops it down. I don't know. But if you wait for something to just wait for it to be there, and if it's not there, then you just slow down. Well, everyone gets back in place. So I would spend a lot of time focused on my power play if I am these guys moving forward. It just in the next whatever, I don't know when the series starts, but 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it is.
Well, and to go off of what you said, Shager, and this is what we just talked about on Ched. If I'm Dallas or Winnipeg, I am watching every single power play the Oilers had in this series, and I'm watching to see what Vegas did, and I'm copying it. Now, the Oilers are going to make adjustments and stuff, but this is the best I've seen a team defend against the Oilers power play, and I can't remember how long. Like it wasn't Aiden Hill making big saves. It was the Oilers not getting chances. So as what you just said, the template that the next team will have, they will watch these power plays to see what Vegas was so good at.
All right, that was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. We'll have Brownie hang in for one more segment here. Let's get to our HSE Core adjustments, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, they have your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program meeting all legislative and core requirements, they support client operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsecor.com. So I'm not sure if Chris Knobloch was asked in his post-game tonight specifically about Matthias Ekholm and when in the third round he might potentially available. He talked the other day about the fact that they're thinking maybe in the third round. That would be a pretty major adjustment, Struddy, getting Matthias Ekholm back at some point. But again, they're getting good minutes from guys, and Troy Stetcher's contributions have been really good here. So I can't help but wonder if Matthias Ekholm is a guy that's going to come back and he's going to do everything he can to get in there. Do they have the ability to just let it breathe a beat with the quality minutes they're getting from Stetcher to make sure? No rushing it, make sure. Do they have a bit of breathing room here, Struds, on let the big guy completely heal?
This isn't a 5th or 6th defenseman that's coming back. This is a guy that's 1 or 2. So if he's ready, you bring him back. Now, if let's say the Oilers after 3 games are up 3-0, all right, we can slow play this. But it's going to be a tough series wherever you play. So I think you want him back. If he's cleared and he's good to go, you get him back in there right away, Brownie.
I think you said it the best. If he's cleared, he's got to be. When you're bringing him back, there's no chance of this being re-injured. This isn't, you're not going to come back or you're going to play in pain and it's going to linger and you're not going to be as good. I think when you put him back in there, because someone called us tonight and said, do they do like Dallas did? You go 11-7. And to me, no. It's if Ekholm's in, it's because he's capable of playing minutes, and you go 12-6 because there's not a forward that deserves to come out of this lineup. And you're not, I think you want to get into 3 pairings as we've seen here. So when Ekholm comes back, he's got to be ready to play. And I think he will be. So again, you're right. If this is McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Ekholm, those 4 players, when they're ready to play, they come back in. You can slow play any other player, but those 4 players, they're coming back the first moment they can.
Yeah, I mean, being cleared to come back, it's not an exact science, right? And we've seen a few times now. I mean, Trent Frederick was cleared to come back and ended up with a significant setback late in the season. Matthias Ekholm was cleared to come back and ended up with a massive setback here that's cost him this first couple of rounds of the playoffs. If he's not there to start the series, I agree with you, Struds. If they get off to a decent lead in this series, if they start well, then maybe you can I think every day just matters. And to me, Matthias Ekholm is a warrior. He'll get back as fast as he possibly can. And I wonder if they'll be in position where they can, if they have to let him come back the second he's ready, or if they can take advantage of buy themselves a little bit of breathing room, because having him to stay at, I mean, what do you think, Struds? Having him back at 70%? I mean, is that worth the risk?
I guess, Mike, so I can't speak to the 70%, but what I need to know that it's going to be okay. Like this isn't something that's on a hairline
you don't
trigger.
know that.
To go around.
I mean, they would have never played him late in the season had there been any way to know that.
But I
Shit
think
happens.
They'll know, like, this is 80% healed, 70%, whatever, 90%, and you can't do any more damage to it, right? That's where I think you got to be. Now, if it's a groin, that's a harder thing to call. But if he's coming back, you got to make sure that it's going to be able to hang in there. They'll tape the hell out of it and all that stuff. But yeah, Brown, you can't. They'll know. They'll know what the risk is if there's any.
I agree. I think you want Ekholm back, but you want Ekholm back. You don't want part of Ekholm back. And this team is playing really, really well. So if you get him back and there's, you know what, he can play. He's not going to be the same. Well, no, but I think, as Strud said, they will know when he plays that, you know what, he's here for the haul. But then, having said all this, I have no idea what the injury is, so I cannot tell you from experience. So,
2 quick questions on adjustments potentially. Do you look at going back to Zach Hyman as the primary guy on the top power play unit, Brownie?
In all honesty, and I've said this to you guys before, Zach Hyman has nothing to do with whether the Oilers or Corey Perry have nothing to do with whether the Oilers power play scores or doesn't score. It is all on Connor and Leon. So if the power play is struggling, it has nothing to do with Nuge. It has nothing to do with the net front presence. So Perry's been fine. I mean, Perry never touched the puck because they never shot the puck. Mm-hmm. So I have no problem. Whether it's Perry or Hyman, both of them are capable of doing the exact same job and doing it well.
Struds?
No, I agree with him. Like he's standing there just trying to retrieve pucks and tip pucks. So he's supposed to stand still, relatively speaking, compared to the others.
I would consider it. I would consider going, and not to blame the lack of production on him in any way, shape, or form, but it has gotten stagnant, and sometimes you just need to shake things up, and that's one thing you can do to give it a bit of a different look. He's also been a dog on the bone in the corners, man, and I imagine he'd be a retrieval machine right now with the physical way that he's playing the game, so I would give some consideration to that. Perry will still get some looks there. I might make that change. Regardless of the opponent, Struds, are you starting Leon Draisaitl, Kapanen, and Podkolzin on a line together next series?
Oh, man. That seems to be his trend. He usually finishes as they started.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I'd have to look at Dallas. I have watched them. I'd have to really sit down and kind of think about it. I would probably start the way I finished. Yes, I would. But I need some time to sit down and kind of think about a backup plan there, because it probably won't last a couple games. Brownie.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't, but I wouldn't have played them together tonight, and I wouldn't have played them together last night. So I'm not going to change. So no.
Do you have a sense, Brownie, what you would like the line to look like with him then? Like where would you tweak and what would you shift?
I would put Leon back with Connor, and I would put Hyman and Nugent Hopkins together, and then you can pick who you want on that line. But I would have Connor and Leon playing with Perry. That's what I would do to start with, and then you see who, and then you want to find out what Dallas wants to do, because Dallas is going to see who they're matching up, and with Dallas, you're going to have to match up against Mikko Rantanen. He is, the games I've watched, he's dominant, dominant. And that's, so to me, for the first time, the Oilers actually, I believe, have to find someone to put out against that line. They talked about Eichel. I mean, and I thought Eichel was fantastic in this game tonight. Eichel had nobody that could score when he passed the puck to him, but Eichel is not playing as well as Rantanen is. Rantanen is a man on a mission right now, so that's someone they're going to have to take very good looks at.
I'll say this about Rantanen, because I love Rantanen, but he's not super fast and he's big. I think the Oilers hitters will be able to get to him. They'll be able to get fits of the body on him. It might not pay off right away, but he is a big target. And again, not slow, but this isn't, Eichel's pretty slippery compared to what I think Rantanen is.
Well, I don't remember Eichel getting hit in the series. Really, I mean, Wallman tried to tonight, and Eichel went right by him. But I don't know if the last time that I don't know if it was the last time the Oilers played Dallas, but Dallas once they got Rantanen played in Edmonton, and he got bowled over a couple times, like absolutely hammered. Wallman absolutely crushed him once. So yeah, you're right, Struds. He is a big target, and you can hit him. And the one thing that we've seen in this playoffs, the Oilers' physicality has been fantastic. Hyman, 13 hits tonight, leading the National Hockey League forwards. That's fantastic.
Okay, good stuff, Brownie. Appreciate the time, man. We will figure out when our next pod is going to be. We might have a series set up. By the way, everything we just talked about with Mikko Rantanen, that's assuming the Dallas Stars get by the Winnipeg Jets. I'm sure there's the odd person that, is a fan of Winnipeg that is sitting here like, come on, can't look past them yet. So maybe we'll do a full series setup pod in a few days here. Thanks, Brownie.
Sounds good. Night, everybody.
All right, see you, pal. There's Brownie taking my brownie points and ducking out of the show. Just can't win with the guy, Struds. Hey, can't win with the guy.
Didn't she penalize me early in the year for trying to take some points?
Yeah, I think I did that one time. I asked for some again, and then he took some away. I don't know what I got to do to get brownie points. I mean, back-to-back series, I've called the right team in the right number of games, and I got no brownie point. There's nothing. Nothing.
It's impressive. It really is impressive. It is truly.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, when we come back, we've got Take a Lap. Did you see what happened with the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight? Oh, my goodness. Was that tough? Man, oh, man. We'll hear from Austin Matthews. Ask us anything as well. So still lots ahead here on the show. This has Got Your Back presented by Play Alberta.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
All right, let's take a quick look at the scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. The all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. Their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date is a full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and a rich oak with a butterscotch finish. One result tonight, Struds, and a couple of games to look to tomorrow night.
Yeah, so the Maple Leafs, they end up losing a tight one, 6-1 to the Florida Panthers at home. Bit of a rough one for sure. Some notable goal scorers in this one that, people obviously are looking for all the stars to score in this goal for Florida. Dmitry Kulikov with his first goal of the playoffs. Noted goal scorer Jesper Boquist, his first goal of the playoffs. Nico Makala bombing it in, first goal of the playoffs. AJ Greer, his first goal of the playoffs. And then Ekblad got his second. And of course, what's his nuts? Sam Bennett got his sixth. So the Stars coming big for the Florida Panthers. And then hold on, it was 6-1. Who scored the other goal? Oh, the guy that just got put in the series, actually, Nick Robertson gets his first. So, man, there'll be a lot of questions to be answered tomorrow.
Yes. And we're going to get to the Leafs. We're going to get to the Leafs and take a lap. By the way, though, people were wondering, have you been invited on Overdrive tomorrow? as the Oilers advance and the Leafs puke one up.
I only get asked when the Oilers lose and the Leafs win. So this for sure not tomorrow. I will be sending a tweet though to invite myself. A couple other cities we got to get thinking about tomorrow. There'll be chances for people to move on. Obviously, on the Thursday night games, we got the Hurricanes Caps going first. Caps will try to get back into this one down 3-1. Carolina can wrap it up, and then Dallas 3-1 over the Jets. Game 5 goes tomorrow, so we could have quite a few clinching series wins tomorrow night.
So, Struds, just a thought on that Hurricanes Cap. I asked this question to Ray Ferraro the other day. Like, you watch those games, and they're not the most entertaining. A little bit more like what we saw tonight for a big chunk of it. But do you think that there is a formula there? And, I mean, Carolina has the formula. They're leading 3-1. Do you think there's a formula there that could actually do some damage against maybe some of these higher octane teams that are having more entertaining games? It's not super pretty, not super fun, but could that be the winning formula coming out of that series?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to watch. It really is. And I'm trying my best to watch those guys play. But yes, I mean, obviously there's a path forward that you can get some wins. I think that what would happen is that if you just continue to play that disciplined style, get pucks to the net, all that kind of stuff, you're hoping or anticipating the other team is going to lose it. And just, I got to break here and go for it. Then you counterpunch and get them. What we saw tonight with Vegas and Oilers, neither team did. They're like, we're just going to stay in this mode, stay in this mode, stay in this mode. So maturity matters, because I think the Hurricanes, they want to just keep it on that same wavelength. Just make you suffer.
What do you think the Jets' chances are?
Oh, I think they're very low. But of winning tomorrow or winning the series?
Yeah, I mean, winning the series is what I'm asking.
Oh, 0%. And this is an anti-Winnipeg. Well, you're not coming back 3-1 against Dallas. Like it, it just, and you know what? If Connor Hellebuck had stole a game or two in the first round, I'd be like, okay, he's got one. Let's say Scheifele has another, and then you got your coin toss. But what makes you think, or are you even inspired by Connor Hellebuck thinking he's going to steal a game? Because he needs to. He needs to steal a game. That's what they, just to get his feel good about it. And I just don't see it happening. I don't think he's stolen one all playoffs.
3 straight versus Dallas seems like such a climb, says Matt Blom. Yeah, agreed. That was our scoreboard, brought to you by Canadian Club. We'll dig a little bit deeper here on the Toronto Maple Leafs and hear from Austin Matthews in our Take a Lap segment. And it's brought to you by Acon. So if you're looking for work, if you're a skilled tradesperson or construction pro, they are one of Canada's original industrial contractors, building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada. So get your resume together and fire it at them via email. trades@acon.com is the email address. That's trades@acon.com. So if you're looking for work, or someone you know is skilled tradespeople or construction professionals, trades@acon.com. Craig Berube basically said we were not good enough. None of us were good enough. Pretty meat and potatoes, straightforward media availability from him. But Zuby, let's go back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Here's Austin Matthews.
No, as I was stating before, we don't have Matthews. We have
Berube,
sorry. And we have that clip from Berube, and then it leads into Nylander.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Tonight, wasn't a good game for anybody. All of us, was not a good game. You stood around and watched. You can't do that.
What goes through your mind when you see some fans leaving, booing, that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, 6-1 in the playoffs or 6-0 in a playoff game. Understand them. They owned us today. We got to try to do that to them in Florida.
Okay, Struddy. What's your analysis? How much of the game did you watch? How much is going wrong? Where are the big guns? My goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's the biggest question. Where are the big guns? So the big guys, the big lines, they were down. They took 2 off the chin tonight. And then who else? The fourth line took 2 off the chin as well, and just got absolutely annihilated on shot share. Both the top line and the fourth line. The middle lines, I don't know, they were kind of hanging in there. But there are certain games that define you in a playoff series or in a playoff run, and this was a game where I thought, okay, and I said it. I think I said it on Greg's show yesterday. The Leafs have to have a good start. If not, the pills get tight, and they didn't have a great start, and they never got themselves going again, and that defines you. At some point, that is who you are. And we can make excuses that they need help in that, but you need to be the best players on the ice. Now, ironically, Florida's this is unfair. They're more role-like players were scoring goals tonight, which is good for them. But those top players have delivered before. The Leafs top players needed to shine tonight and lead their squad, and they weren't able to do so. Now they're down 3-2 going to Florida. Tough.
And back-to-back series in a row where, they've let a team off the mat. They let Ottawa off the mat. Now they were able to close out, but Ottawa is, Florida's a different team than Ottawa. Here is Austin Matthews postgame.
Turn the page. How do you turn the page? Well, there's nothing we can do now. We got to put our best foot forward, look in the mirror, and just be better. That's really it. How much do you put on your own shoulders going into Friday? I think everybody's got to look in the mirror, like I said. Myself included. Everybody wants to be better. Everybody wants to obviously win, and we've been a great road team all season long. There's always going to be belief in this group and a confidence in this group from what we built off throughout the year. So we got to go in this game with confidence, and it's got to be our best game of the year.
So, sorry, I gotta shut that. His second round performances have not been great here, Struds, from a goal scoring standpoint. Like, what are you seeing in Matthews? One of the narratives in these playoffs was that he was playing a good shutdown game, trying to play a two-way game against Barkov and all that. But at the end of the day, so Austin Matthews isn't banging in goals. His team's going to have a hell of a time getting past the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, so he had quite a few shots tonight. But Florida is they obviously Oilers fans know them quite well. They get in the way, they make you just change it, maybe shoot it before you want to. Like their D are quite big, quite long, and they kind of get in the way. And then Bobrovsky is playing well, right? So it's just a bad recipe for everyone around. Now, as far as the Leafs, if they lose, when's the game? Friday night? It's Friday night, right?
Yeah.
So if they lose Friday night, everything's on the table for this offseason, and they know that. Talk about pressure, right? Talk about pressure.
I don't think Berube's on the table this offseason.
Sorry,
I would say that's not on the table. Yeah.
I'll say player personnel-wise, everything outside of Austin Matthews is on the table.
Yeah.
But if they win it, they can write a great story and come back and then win the game Monday, and then their stories now it changes the narrative, right? And that's they've got to find a way to do it. So it's them against the world. No, everyone is doubting them. I'm doubting them. People are laughing about them. Here we go again. The short playoff run, but they can write their own story tonight or this Friday, and I think that's a huge thing. Give yourself a chance at home in Game 7.
Yeah. Okay, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by Acon. Zuby, why don't you hop in here, pal, and we'll wrap up our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. Where did we finish up, bud?
Yes, let's do that. The question was, for everything you may have said in this chat and in private, to whom do you most owe an apology to tonight? And it was Stu Skinner, runaway winner, 67%. But this surprised me a little bit. I don't know why I kind of thought Chris Knobloch would be higher. Second place is Evan Bouchard with 23%. Chris Knobloch third, only 6%. And Evander Kane bringing up the rear at 3%. So people had belief in him, I suppose. No, I just think the bigger apologies were due to Stu and Evan Bouchard. So.
Well, they had the most negative noise coming at them at times. And rightfully so through the year. Skinner had a really down year. Evan Bouchard had a down year after, a playoffs where he showed everybody what he was capable of. But Struds, he's getting himself back there, from defensively, I see him getting himself back to where he was before. You?
Yeah, for sure. And, he's got a little bit extra edge to him. And still making the plays that, the best passing D on the Oilers, although now Klingberg might be, fighting for that position as well. And then Stu Skinner, same thing. These last two games, he should feeling really good about himself. And I know I get over dramatic with it, but he's now has the opportunity to kind of rest, reflect, and then have a couple good hard practices or a practice or two with his goalie coach to keep those skills sharp, and then head into this next series against, I'm guessing, Dallas, feeling good about himself.
Whole Oiler blue line deserves a lot of credit, Struds. Like to be able to lock down the way they did tonight. They've had a number of games where they've been able to lock down. I know there's lots of debate game to game about, Nurse and Bouchard together. Nurse is always going to be a hot button topic, but bottom line, you just have to heap a pile of praise onto these defenders for defending the way they have for multiple games here and through a lot of these playoffs.
For sure. So you look at it, they had a lot of scorers, right? Like Dorofeyev, Hurdle, Eichel, Howden.
They got nothing.
I'm sure Stone, but they didn't get through it. So if you're looking at the Dallas Stars, you look at their top scorers in the regular season,
or the Winnipeg
Brandon
Jets.
and Duke, Robertson, Johnson, Rupe Hintz, Granlund, right? So that's a big group. They're a good group of players. But what they just went through with Vegas was pretty good as well. There's a lot of scorers. What did I say today, Zoobs? Dorofeyev and who was it?
Dorofeyev I meant to correct you because you kept saying Buchnevich, but you meant the other guy who was injured. Barbashev, yes.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
And I couldn't even remember.
Those two guys had almost 60 goals, these two guys, right? Like, that's pretty incredible. And so the firepower on Vegas was good. And so now they're going to face a similar thing with Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can get Ekholm back at some point, that just helps. But so they shouldn't be intimidated. They just played a team with a lot of scorers. And Kings had a pretty good group of scorers as well.
All right, let's get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Founded in 1976, they're a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated right here in Edmonton. Gotta love the local companies. Visit bjelectric.ca. All right, Zuby, what are people wanting to know tonight?
Do you know what? I wonder if Dustin Schwartz should have been on the poll. That would have been the one. Now I'm just too late. An hour and a half late. That would have been a good name to have on there.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of Evander Kane. Just a quick answer. Someone asked me in the chat, and I was half answering. They asked me what I thought about Skinner using the home and away pads and using the white on the road and the dark color at home. And isn't the dark color supposed to be easier for shooters because they can see the pads better, whereas the white blends in? I'll just say really quickly, I had a thought, I didn't finish it. I never subscribed to that, but I never played at that level either. But what surprises me more about him using home and away gear is I feel like you're always going to have a set that you like a little bit more, that you feel a tiny bit more comfortable in. That's the part that surprises me the most about him using the two sets for an answer to whoever asked that. So thanks for the question. Let's get to these questions. Kyle, I'm not going to even try to say his last name. He says, box score says Hyman had 13 hits. Now, it did. I double-checked that. And also worth noting that Zach Hyman, the runaway leader league-wide in hits in the playoffs so far, 78 hits in 11 games. He's not shown up on the score sheet so much, but Zach Hyman is contributing in the way that most people be pretty happy with this time of year, right, Struddy?
Well, it's a way you got to find a way to contribute if you're not doing your primary job, which for him is important for him to score. I think that at some point here, he's got to find the back of the net. And I think think of what he did last year and how much it helped the group. I think hopefully he can get that touch back, but he's making it really uncomfortable for other teams' players all over the ice because he can get there pretty quick and he lays into them pretty heavy.
He was asked about that the other day, and he said, during the regular season, it's a little bit different because, you're throwing a hit. It's kind of for that night, for that game, and for that night. And when you're in a playoff series, you're investing in a long series. You're investing in it through the series, and so, he sees the value, and he's done what he's done because he sees the value in softening these guys up as the series goes deeper. And I think we've seen that, Struds. We've seen a much more physical team that has done a good job of softening up the blue line, and Hyman leading that charge. And I think it has been noticeable. I mean, look at
Look at Zach Whitecloud throwing a puck away the other night with Evander Kane barreling in on him.
Oh yeah, I mean they pace themselves. You know, I said it all year. They're pacing themselves and saving their shoulders, saving their body. But the flip side of that, Chagra and Zoobs, it's really important that this was a short series because it's less wear and tear on their body. They can, 4 or 5 days of whatever, health or massages, ice packs will feel pretty good when they hit the ground next week.
The part of all that I have a little bit of trouble reconciling in my brain, Struds, is I asked Knobloch about it so many times through the year about them being dead last in the league in hits per 60. And he consistently was giving answers to indicate that he didn't feel hitting was important. It wasn't about saving themselves. It wasn't about there's a time and a place. It wasn't about, he consistently gave answers talking about how if you have the puck, it was more about puck possession and that it didn't matter. Yet now they're winning all these games and tearing through the playoffs, and they're being dominant physically on a lot of nights. I just have trouble reconciling those two. Like, if you want to play your best hockey, does hitting matter or not? And that's what Knobloch's answers to what we're seeing right now. It's, for me, those two things don't add up. I think your point is great about saving yourself for the regular season. But if you want to play a really good, strong hockey game, should you be physical or not? And I'm not sure what Knobloch thinks.
I would suggest to you his answers were misleading during the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. I don't know, man. I asked him a lot, and he was pretty consistent. Anyways, let's move on from that.
Something else on Hyman, and this is related to the power play. And if you guys touched on this, I might have missed it, but if you touched on this, just shut me down. We'll go on to something else. Feeling a little randy. Greg says, Struddy, whatever happened to the play where McDavid circles toward the slot and shoots at Hyman's chest and he taps it in? I mean, he must have scored 15 goals on that play last season. We don't see it anymore. Why is that something that is not necessarily being explored in the power play?
Yeah, so Hyman would just build a wall on the far side of the net, and he'd just shoot it, and then he'd either knock it down, punch it in, or go off from whatever. That's a good point. I think that, as a D-man, what you'd probably do is you'd really hold, I'd want to build my own wall on this corner he's coming around and get my stick out in front, so I have to push him out a little bit further, then try to keep my stick in that passing lane, rather than, defending maybe the pass back to Leon. So that's probably, it's just not there. They're boxing up the front of the net. And I think those D-men are trying to hold that off. And to be honest, I don't really see Hyman setting up there as much anymore. Do you guys? I guess he's not on the power play right now. But
yeah, hasn't been on that top power play as much. But yeah, I don't know. Snapping a shot at a guy's chest, like if you're in a prime scoring position to shoot the puck, I think you probably want to just put it on net, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like I just shoot it. But anyway, I agree that we haven't seen much of it, Zuby. I'm
going to put a couple here together. Eat a Peach over on X with a good comment. He says, 97 was more upset after his win than 34 Austin Matthews was after his loss. I thought that was a funny comment. And then I was going to just follow that up with, which was it? Noel Rinsky saying, do you think the Oilers are taking an us against the world / media mentality? It seems like it in all the post game. And I've always for the last little while, I wanted to get this comment in because I've kind of advocated for this in a way that I feel like that's kind of what this team needs. Because it does feel at times like, I have no conspiracy theories, but it feels like media, fans of other teams are maybe, feel like they're against this team. And so do you think that us against the world, does that work in the public eye in the dressing room, Struddy?
Oh, I love it. I love it because you find a common enemy. Enemy. And you kind of turn on everyone else and it's just us. And it's just going to be, and there's that, it kind of makes a little pack mentality. Now you're just rolling out and you want to roll into every building and just be, the badass bear. So yeah, I like it. I don't know if they are actually doing that. I think they're just very businesslike. This is a business trip. These next month, well, I guess we've already done a month. So another month is a business trip and we have to get this done.
Mm-hmm. Every team does this.
Every team does this. We see it all the time. I've covered lots of Stanley Cup, conference finals and playoffs, and there's no team that's like, it's us with the media. It's always the team against the media. What we are seeing is, I think we're seeing the result. A lot of people felt like heading into the playoffs, it's just not the Oilers' year. The injuries, the goaltending, the this, the that. I think some of them probably thought it. But I think that was a narrative, and I think they heard that. I think they felt that. We started hearing underdog talk, which you don't normally hear from this group. A little bit of not combativeness, but a little bit of shots at the media and stuff, which is normal. So there is some of that going on for sure, but I think it's about them versus the world, not necessarily specifically about the media. The world that didn't feel like this would be their year. The world that has counted the Oilers out. The world that, nobody was picking them. So I think we see it all the time, and yes, I think it's happening.
Okay, I love this question because I was thinking it right as the game ended. In fact, I didn't celebrate very much when the goal went in because I thought, I'm not going to be shocked if they challenge this. A. Cherniavsky says, tonight's OT goal was obviously fine, but it got me thinking, if an OT goal is even remotely questionable for goalie interference, why wouldn't the team challenge it? There's nothing to lose. There was a little poke at the pad before it went in. Why you're out if you lose? Why wouldn't they challenge it, Shagar?
Good question. I mean, yeah. Well, is it automatically? It's not automatic at the end of games, is it, Struts?
I thought I have heard that it's anything in overtime is automatically reviewed. So I don't know. I don't want to put that out there and be wrong, but I mean, at first I thought there was a lot of people around the net. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be called back. And then they showed the first replay. I'm like, no, that's clear. It was Hill fell on his own and he was on back and it was tapped in. So, but I want to say they review every goal. I might be wrong.
That would make sense because I actually felt like there was a little bit of waiting around by Vegas. So maybe they knew, maybe there is something that comes down from upstairs because it felt like there was this just like tense waiting around for a minute or two. So that could be it. Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys talked about this either, but a pretty important, I think, from SMC. He says, Vegas really missed Stone out there. The guy's such a unit, so hard to take off the puck. What did you think of him not being out there, and where did Vegas miss him most, Struddy?
Yeah, so in a game like tonight, you miss Mark Stone. He finds a way to get something, right? He stumbles in there. The puck's all over the place. He's tucks one in or finds someone, turnover that leads to a goal against. Like, I think that was one of the most guys they could ill afford to have out because he's a gamer, but he's a smart gamer, understands that this is a tight game and I can be a difference maker. So yeah, did anyone hear what was wrong with him? I guess they didn't reveal it tonight.
Yeah, I haven't heard yet if they said anything. In terms of where they most missed him, they missed having him next to Eichel. Eichel was ready to get things done tonight. He was ready to skate miles. Talked about Brownie. Brownie talked about how good Eichel was tonight. And when he has a night like that and he's passing off to not Mark Stone, it's a real big difference. So he was missed next to Jack Eichel where he's so effective.
Interesting thought. You guys have probably seen the stats on Stu Skinner in games 4 through 7. So Justin Hammy, he's got out of the box thought. He says Pickard gets games 1 through 3, Skinner games 4 through 6 or 7 as needed. Just a couple of thoughts. You can go any way you want with this. One, have you ever seen, or do you have a thought on why Stu's stats is it connected to the team, why they're so good in games 4 through 7? But would you also just agree for the way this playoff has gone so far, what a great position for the Oilers to be in? Because if one goalie has a stinker and they go to the other one, I don't think anyone will be surprised by that anymore. Would you, Shagar?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I would say that Skinner's early series performance often mirrors that of his team. It's not like the Oilers come out gangbusters in series and absolutely blow the doors off and Skinner keeps dropping the ball and they're losing games. Like, the team is better deep in series. They're fantastic closing teams out. Skinner's usually in net for those closeout games. So I would say that it mirrors the team a little bit. I would say heading into a series, there's often 2 or 3 days ahead of time
of build up and thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. I would imagine that's hard to deal with. But I mean, that's about the only thing I could think of. Struds?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think that, the team doesn't quite get dialed in right away. It's a little bit more of a challenge. Like I said, he plays best on nights like tonight when it's predictable and not a lot of off the rush chances. But something to think about. Skinner has beat 2 Stanley Cup champions the last 2 games, Hill and Kemper.
Yeah. Last couple series. Okay, Zuby, 1 more, 2 more. What do you got?
2 more.
Okay.
Davin pointing out that Bruce Cassidy was a little pissy about only getting 1 power play. I don't know if you saw his post game. And he even referred back to them not getting a power play in overtime of game 2. So what did you think of?
I love that.
Of Cassidy's post game comments, Struddy?
He's a competitor, and I get it. I actually thought he was quite gracious, at the end. But you're not happy. Like I don't expect him to come out and just say everything's okay. He's trying to find solutions. But at the end of the day, and they highlighted today on the game where we talked to actually on Struddy's World, the top 5 players were not scoring like for this team. So you get the power play, great, but you got to score on it, and they just weren't unable to get it done. So. Yeah, big challenge. Big challenge for him was the lack of scoring.
As much as he pointed to that, he also said, we underperformed and we had some guys that underperformed, and that's on me. I need to figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen again. So he wore his end of it for sure.
They didn't score for the last more than 2 games of a series.
Yeah.
So there's some problems there. Okay, last question, then a couple of quick comments. Aussie Oiler, we did this last year, we sort of did it, but unofficially, Aussie Oiler wants to know, who's your relentless player of the series? And then there's a lot of places to go with this.
Wow, 5 games. Jack made the point on the broadcast that it felt like a lot longer than 5-game series.
He said it felt like 12.
Yeah.
Not one to exaggerate, Jack Michaels, but
yeah. Who would it be? I don't know. I mean, Skinner came in after 3.
Yeah, it's hard to get him.
Back-to-back shutouts. Yeah, because he wasn't in it for the whole thing. I don't know. I have to think
we got
about that
votes here for Hyman, Bouchard, Pods,
Yeah.
Skinner, Kane, Skinner, Hyman, Kapanen. A bunch for Kane.
There's a lot. I might go Bouchard. I think Bouchard had a good series.
Yeah.
Okay, the couple of comments I wanted to get to really quickly were Be Happy, Shogger. He's given you 5 points for predicting Oilers over Vegas in 5 games. I guess those are happy points you get.
Happy points? So, I'll take my happy points. Thanks, Be Happy.
And then our friend Noel Rinsky, he said he's accepting Got Your Back sponsorship deals for Game 5 in Dallas. So he's going to be in Dallas. He said he's about, I forget, 5 or 7 rows, something behind the bench. Now in Dallas, there's usually something a little bit more distracting in that front row behind the bench, I think. So maybe we won't notice Noel decked out in Got Your Back gear, but he's open to sponsorships if we want to get him a bunch of gear to be.
Appreciate that. No, I will be on the road. I will be on the road for the next round. So Got Your Back will be on the road coming up on conference finals.
Excellent. And hey, I want to tell you, on YouTube right now, our cumulative total tonight is over 4,600 views on YouTube.
Amazing.
Up to this point for all the folks who've been in and out, and still 1,200 strong with us here after 1 a.m. Mountain Time. So thank you to everybody.
Yeah, crazy.
Being a part of it.
So good. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. And with that, let's wrap up with our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Offering a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy, their experienced team provides personalized care with the latest technology, making sure you get the best treatment possible. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com. What do we got tonight, Zuby? You taking it?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Man, I'm heavily featured here. Yeah, I forgot. I wanted to talk about this. So I keep seeing this young woman, Lauren Hunter, who apparently is, I'm not in Edmonton, so I apologize for being naive or ignorant on this, but she's the 4 to 7 p.m. radio host on Sonic. I do know what Sonic is.
Yes.
And she makes these incredible costumes homemade costumes, very like elaborate and incredible. She made one of a magpie. Lots of them are like Edmonton related. Anyway, she keeps coming up in my Twitter feed, and it makes me smile from ear to ear to see her in this. So she made this skate costume that's been her like Oilers costume of the year, and they've won every game when she's worn it. She started it after game 2, like for game 3 of the LA series. So now she's wearing it, like taking these pictures of herself on a daily basis, like at Superstore. She's been in the moss pit with it, and like all these other places. So her Twitter is @HunterAtHome. So go and check it out. The costume is amazing. She's been a good luck charm, it would seem, for the Oilers, and she's always smiling and happy, and the costume's just amazing, but the pictures and stuff are hilarious as well. So I recommend you go and check it out. And that's my play.
I like that. I like you pulled that out of there, Zuby. I got a runner up. So was playing earlier on today with my neighbor Doug, and we get to the course and we're up against a couple of young buckaroos in their early 20s, big hitters. Just bombs, right? So we're going toe-to-toe best ball today. We were up 2, 3 holes left. Little brats tied us, heading to 18. And my neighbor Doug chips in for the win today on 18 against the Young Bucks. We were jumping up and down, jumping into each other's. We made fools of ourselves. They just walked off angry. We sat there dancing and jumping, and it was pathetic but amazing at the same time. Struds.
Jolly Roger, what a way to end up the day.
That was our secondary play of the day. All right, that wraps the show, everybody. Thanks so much for dialing us in. We'll pay attention, see what the results are here over the next couple of days, and we'll figure out when our next pod is going to be. But the Oilers are going to the 3rd round of the playoffs, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Can't wait to keep pounding out these shows with these amazing audiences that keep joining us night after night after night, and we thank you. So keep an eye on our socials. We'll let you know when the next pods are coming, and we'll chat in a few days. Have a good night, everybody. See you, fellas. Great job.
Good times, everyone. Thanks again.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Great show, guys.
Bye.